Modern and classic Fallout have many differences. The most glaring one is the isometric view in turn-based combat, but I would argue the most important difference is classic Fallout's unapologetic portrayal of the brutality of post-war America. War never changes is a line that's said in every one of the Fallout games. But what if you reject the inevitability of violence and opt for a more peaceful path? Can you beat Fallout 1 as a pacifist? So after watching the intro, we're on to character creation, which I named myself Gentle Gary. As for special, I put perception and charisma at 1, because we won't be using weapons, so perception is kinda useless, and charisma is actually useless in Fallout 1. I put strength and endurance to 4 so I could bump my intelligence to 10 for the extra skill points on level up, agility to 10 for the maximum action points, and luck to 10 for the purposes of gambling and random encounters. For skills, I tagged sneak and repair, and as for the traits, I of course picked good-natured, and for the second one, I was torn between gifted and bloody mess, but since gifted makes you lose skill points, and I'd like to imagine since Gary's such a gentle guy, he sees every death in the most violent way possible. So for the roleplay, I picked bloody mess. When we're done making our character, we're immediately forced to consider the ramifications of inbreeding within the vault. This is the Overseer. He tells us that the water chip is broken and the vault will run out of clean drinking water soon. So their only hope is to send me, a man who not only can't defend himself, but refuses to do so, to brave the unknown horrors of the wasteland and find a new water chip. Yeah, this place is kinda fucked, isn't it? Now that we're in the game proper, we find ourselves in a cave surrounded by rats and the corpse of the last hope of the vault, Ed. We loot Ed of any valuables to sell and try to sneak past the rats, and immediately fail. I seriously hope this isn't an omen for how the rest of this challenge is gonna go. So after we run past the rats, we're outside on the world map, and travel is handled completely differently in classic Fallout. You just point on the map where you want to go, it takes a few days to get there, and every once in a while you might get a random encounter. And these random encounters can be anything from a giant mantis attack to a tipped over Nuka-Cola truck with a bunch of caps inside. Speaking of mantises, looks like these have killed a traveler and want to do the same to me, but we're able to loot his corpse for valuables and make our way to Vault 15. But on the way, we find the small settlement of Shady Sands. And yes, this is the same Shady Sands that would later found the New California Republic. But for now, it's just some backwater town in the California wasteland. We trade the guy at the gate for some rope, and go into the building to our left to meet someone interesting. This is Ian, the first companion most people get in the game, but we're just here to ask for directions, not to take him along with us. Not only because having him along would ruin the spirit of the challenge, but in my experience he's far better at killing me than he is at killing anyone else. We also steal some rope and a book from some farmers. Then we leave. There are things to do in Shady Sands, but not really many tasks for someone who doesn't like getting their hands dirty. As we make our way to Vault 15, you might be wondering what kind of experiment took place there. Well, that lore wasn't added until Fallout 2, but the experiment was they overpopulated the vault with a bunch of people with diverse ideologies to see how they would react. And it ended in a big schism where the ones who started it were exiled and would go on to form various raider groups. And because the vault was too damaged in the infighting, the remaining inhabitants would go on to form Shady Sands. But now that we're in the vault proper, I attempt to sneak past some rats and immediately fail. And I know I'm still level 1, but if sneak is really this bad in Fallout 1, the rest of this challenge is going to be hell. Nevertheless, we may have taken a beating, but we were able to rappel down to the second floor, which I take that time to heal and search the area, finding leather armor and some more rope that I used to get down to the third floor. And down there, we didn't find a water chip, but we did get a fat 500 XP, bringing us halfway to level 2. To put that into perspective for you, most characters would be around levels 3 to 4 around this point. Yeah, this vault sucks. We're gonna go to a place Ian told us about, Junktown. Now originally we came here looking for leads on the water chip, but when the guard mentioned this town had a casino, our hero got a little distracted. You see, Gary loves gambling, but for some reason, his friends stopped inviting him when they play cards. With that being said, when we walked into Gizmo's, we had 67 caps, and when we walked out, we had 17,522. After that, we headed to Dark Waters to see if he had anything interesting to sell. But while we were shopping, some guy walked in and started blasting. The guards took care of it, but this place seems a little violent for Gary. So we're gonna go to a place I'm sure everyone is a lot nicer to each other. The Hub. When we get there, since our last shopping trip ended so poorly, I decide to see if there's anything interesting for sale and find a set of combat armor and a Geiger counter. After that, we head over to the water merchants to see if they know where I can find a water chip. They tell us that the ghouls of Necropolis don't seem too interested in doing business with them, so maybe check there. But before we leave, they offer to sell water to our vault, which gives you more time to look for the water chip, but has unforeseen consequences, so we didn't do it. Before we leave, we buy a holotape on vaults from the bookstore for 100 XP. I mostly did it for the XP, but if you read it, it also confirms that there's a vault under what used to be Bakersfield, California, which happens to be our next location. When we enter Necropolis, we are greeted by some feral ghouls, which this is just a side note, but you'll find these guys just walking around the place, and unlike the undead rage-fueled death machines of the later games, these guys just kinda come off as highly irradiated burn victims, which I kinda prefer. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. With that being said, I go into the sewers and find some non-feral ghouls. When I ask them about the water chip, they tell me they have one in their vault and tell us I can take it if I fix their water pump. Which sounds like a fair deal, so I head back to the surface and find a super mutant named Harry, who was sent here by some mysterious master to guard the watershed for some reason. And he may look dumb, but I wasn't able to talk my way past him and had to sneak in. In the back, we find the water pump and fix it using our repair skill, which gets us to level 2. We raise our sneak, repair, and speech, then freed the ghoul prisoner and made our way into Vault 12. If you're wondering why there's so many ghouls here, it's pretty simple. The experiment was the vault door didn't close all the way to see how radiation infected the inhabitants. And as you can see, it turned them all into zombies. Anyways, we got the water chip and got to level 3, which means we get our first perk, which has to be Swift Learner to help with the XP drought we're currently dealing with. And as for skills, second verse, same as the first, raised our sneak, repair, and speech. But with that done, we leave, and as Gary heads home to save his people, if you're enjoying this video, you should head down to that like and subscribe button. Anyways, now that we're back in Vault 13, we go down to the second floor to see how everyone's handling the situation, and as it turns out, not very good. We talk down a woman who wants to start a mutiny, and find out someone's been stealing water, which we agree to stop. On the third floor, we use our science skill on a computer to hit level 4, then dump all of our skill points into science. After that, we wait till midnight to catch the water thief red-handed. But when I search him, he goes to attack me. I thought I'd have to reload, but I saw the guard over there. I ran over to her, but instead of arresting him, she just kills him. So I stole all the weapons in the armory, so hopefully she won't hurt anyone again. But when I go to turn in the quest, I notice I didn't get any XP, and I don't know if it's because I didn't kill him, or if it's because it's a bug, but no matter. I give the water chip to the overseer, and he sends me back to the library to upload the data my Pip-Boy collected in the wasteland. Then I hit level 5, I raise my science, speech, and sneak. When I return to the overseer, he's looked over the data and has come to the conclusion that there's more mutant activity and believes that someone's making more. Then he tasks me with investigating if he's right and putting a stop to it. So even though we saved the day, he sends us back into the fray. The overseer better be damn grateful. Anyways, we head back to the hub to ask around about the mutants, and as it turns out, the Fargo traders have been having their caravans attacked by a mutant they believe is called a Deathclaw, and they task me with investigating the matter. Turns out there's someone in town that knows more about the Deathclaw, so we go buy some radiation medication, then go talk to him. This is Harold, and he tells us about the Deathclaw, but more importantly, he tells us that before he looked like a ghoul, there was a man named Richard Gray that led a small expedition to an old military base up north to try to find the source of the local mutations, and that he is the only one that made it back alive. We'll just stash that little nugget of knowledge in our brain for later. It sounds important. After that, we go to the Deathclaw's lair and find a half-dead super mutant clutching a holotape in his arms, and we sneak past the Deathclaw, and honestly, I owe Stealth an apology in this game because, yeah, he saw me, but with a high enough stealth stat, you can just take a few steps away and exit combat. This is broken. With holotape in hand, we head back to the Fargo traders and tell them it's not the Deathclaw that's been attacking his caravans, but mutants that come from a mysterious pre-war military base up north. Really just freak the guy out. Then we head to the boneyard. I don't really have a roleplay reason for coming here, there's just things here we need to do, like fix Miles's water pump and agree to help the followers investigate the cathedral so we can get our hands on the cathedral robes. These will be very important later. Then we head to the Brotherhood of Steel, but on the way we get an encounter that I've been trying to get since the start of the game. A dino footprint with a stealth boy. And if I thought stealth was kinda broken before, now it's just stupidly broken and no one will be able to see me. In order to join, we must complete a quest to go to a place called the Glow and bring something back that proves we were there. And when we say yes, he says this.
You will? Great, just bring it back here. Good luck.
Which I love this interaction, bro sounds so surprised. In the Glow, we pop some rad meds and finally use that rope that we picked up at the start of the game to rappel down, pick up a holotape off a corpse laying on the ground, and get to level 6. I take the Stealth Runner perk and raise my speech and sneak skill. Then I leave, but before I leave I take some Radaway and get addicted to it, which I did not know Radaway was addictive in classic Fallout. That's kinda crazy. Anyways, we head back to the Brotherhood and give them the holotape and gain access to the base. We're supposed to go talk to the Elder, but there's a few things I want to do first. On the 3rd floor we find a guy repairing some power armor, but he's missing a part. If we tell him we'll get the part from his boss, he'll give us the power armor. One speech check later, we have a walking tank. Before we go talk to the Elder, we go to the library to go talk to this scribe. She tells us that the mutants are sterile, and if we ask for proof, she gives us a holotape. This will be very important later. Now we go talk to the Elder, and he tells us that the northern military base is real and tasks us with investigating it. He even gives us a paperweight as a souvenir. Gary wanted the fist-shaped one. When we leave, we get a random encounter, and hopefully this shows you how strong power armor is in classic Fallout. But anyways, before we head up north, we go down to Miles so he can pimp my power armor. Then we head to the military base, and as we get closer, we encounter super mutant patrols, and I actually had to reload a few times. When we finally get there, we switch to those dripped out robes we got from the followers, and they just let us in. I told you they'd come in handy. But now that we're in, we sneak down to the control room to do something a little bit controversial. We set off the base's self-destruct sequence and got the fuck out of there. But I'm sure everyone got away in time. After all of that, the only thing left to do is go to the cathedral to confront the Master. So that's what we do. Not really feeling like talking to anyone, we stole the key from this guy, made our way down to the basement, past the bookshelves. When we get down there, we see the coolest talking head in the game, and meet the Master, who also happens to be Richard Gray. He tries to get us to join him, but we show him the evidence that his mutants are sterile. He did not take the news well and tells us he's going to blow himself up. So again, we get the fuck out of there. And after everything, Gary just wanted to go home to his vault, relax, and maybe throw a few dice around with his friends. But when he gets there, he's hit with the worst possible news ever.
You've done it. That's wonderful, amazing. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished, what you've endured. There's no way the people of the Vault can ever thank you enough for what you've done. You've saved all our lives. Who knows? Maybe even saved the human race. Yes. That makes the rest of this even harder. Everyone will want to talk to you. Every youngster will look up to you and want to emulate you. And then what? They'll want to leave. What happens to the Vault if we lose the best of a generation? What if we are the only safe place in the world? You just gave us back all these lives. I can't take the chance of losing them. I've made a lot of tough decisions since I took this position, but none of them harder than this one. You saved us, but you'll kill us. I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.
Our hero couldn't accept it, and something in him snapped. And just like that, I did not complete Fallout 1 as a pacifist. I actually did not know Bloody Mess was going to do that at the end. I knew if he had a bad reputation it happened, but I had a neutral one, so I thought he wasn't going to kill the Overseer. But if you made it this far in the video, I would like to thank you, and I hope you consider subscribing. The next one will be about New Vegas or maybe Morrowind. I've been on a Morrowind kick lately. And see you later. Bye.